So let's do a distance speed problem. So we've got a jogger who runs 3 miles. So we're given the distance, 3 miles. And that's at some speed. And then runs another 4 miles at a speed of 1 less mile per hour. So slightly slower. I don't exactly know how much, but like if the 3 miles were originally took 1 hour, so 3 miles per hour would be the speed, and the one of the 4 miles would be at a speed of 2 miles per hour. It's 1 less. Okay, so that's the idea. That's the setup. I don't really know how one would know these things and not know the actual question being asked, but it's an example problem of some weirdness. And then total time takes 1 3/5 hours. Let's see. Then basically, what are the speeds or times? What are the times of each part? And if you had that, you'd also have the velocities, right? Because let's say it took an hour for the 3 miles, then you know it was 3 miles per hour. Okay. All right, good. So that's a word problem. Good to think about it. So what do we know? We know, so let's just say the journey was parts A and B, okay? So that's the 3 miles, and that's the 4 miles. So those are the 2 different phases. So we're gonna make names for lots of stuff, and don't be scared about names. Names are good. Names are good. A lot of conventional math stuff when first learning about quadratics will just have one name, x. I don't know why, but they tend to want to have just one name, and then things get very complicated because when you can't name stuff, it's hard to keep track of it. So we're going to call stuff. So this is distance A, and this is a distance B. Okay, and so then there's also velocity A, velocity B, so that's the speeds. Maybe I should just say, well, do not do S's, they look like 5s. Velocity A and velocity B, and then there's also time A and time B. And just a general thing is that the distance A is equal to the velocity times the time. Or really, velocity is defined as take the total distance and divide it by the time, right? So this is constant speed. If you have varying speed, this doesn't work. This is just running the same pace the whole time, or basically the same pace the whole time. Okay, so we got velocity, we've got times, distances, and we were told, so we've got the 2 distances, and we're told the total time, which is equal to the time of the A part plus the time of the B part, is equal to 1 3/5. Okay, or I'm sure we'll want to write it as 8/5. All right, So, what do we know? So basically, oh, I knew I was missing a piece of information. How did I know that? Because I started thinking about, okay, if I guess some times, so like if I guess for the time of A, I can get the time of B, but then what, right? I need the velocities, so there needs to be something else. And that extra thing was the velocity of A is bigger than the velocity of B, so it's the velocity of B plus 1, right? The 4 miles at a speed of 1 less mile per hour. So that plus 1. Okay? So now, this is where the fun happens. So here, I guess I'd probably, I think just the way my brain works, I would guess velocities. Yes. So let's say your velocity A was 4 miles per hour, right? And then, so the time would then be the distance, 3, divided by the velocity, 4. So that would be 3/4. And then velocity of B was 1 less, 3 miles per hour. And the time, B, so that's 4. And then divided by the 4 miles. And divided by miles per hour puts the miles in the, so divided by a fraction flips it, right? So divided by miles per hour is the same as multiplying by hours per mile. In any event, and that's 4/3, and 3/4 plus 4/3 is equal to, let's see, 9 plus 16 over 3, 25/3, or 8 1/3. So that seems to be too long. I was surprised that came out to be, it should not be, that's not right. Oh, yeah, because that's over 12. There we go. I knew it wasn't right because 3/4 plus 4/3 should be not that big. 25 over 12 should be, so that's like 2 and a 12th. Right? It's still too long. But that's the idea, right? So that's a guess and check, and I could try some other numbers. I'd increase it. I could try 5 and 3. 5 and 4. So if I were to do like VA was 5 and VB was 4, and then that would be 5 divided by 4 plus 4 divided by 3. And so, I guess everything's always over 12. Anyway, 12, 15, and 16. So 15 plus 16, or 31/12. Just getting worse. Oh, sorry. See? Took the wrong generalizations. So the velocity was on the denominator. right, 3/5 plus 4/5. See, things were getting worse, and it didn't make sense to me that things were, sorry, it's 4/4. Oh, is that really true? 3 miles divided by the velocity is 5 3/5 plus 4 divided by 4, which is 1. Well, I guess I solved the problem. Oh well. So anyway, guess and check done. So what's next? Actually, let's try to get an actual formula going here, right? So what do we have here? So I had the time and the velocities. So I had basically working back from what we do, 8/5, that's the total time, is equal to time A plus time B. And how do we keep computing that? That was the distance of A over the velocity of A plus the distance of B over the velocity of B. All right, distance of A is known, that's 3. And velocity of A is not known. The distance of B is known, that's 4. And dividing by the velocity of B, that's not known, but we know it's 1 less. So VA minus 1. So our problem is 8/5 equals 3 over x plus 4 over x minus 1. So now we just multiply that all out. So 8/5 x times x minus 1, and that's equal to 3x minus 1 plus 4x. So this is where guess and check really is kind of nice in the sense that I didn't have to do all this algebra, which I'm sure I'm going to make a mistake with. Because this is, and I might as well get rid of that 5 there, so it's 8x squared minus 8x equals 15x minus 5 plus 20x. Now, I did a bunch of just computations there. You might want to take that slower. But, yeah, so I multiplied everything by 5, and I distributed stuff. And hopefully I didn't make any mistakes, but I'm sure I did. So we have 8x squared. So 15x, 20x is 30x minus 5. And I'm going to bring that over to this side, so minus 38x. And then plus 5 equals 0. Wow, that looks awful. Doesn't seem like I should get a nice number out of that. But, yeah, doesn't seem nice at all. No. Let's just quickly graph that. Let's just see if I get anything that makes any sense. Well, it definitely disagrees with what I did before. And so let's just double check everything, huh? So 8/5 equals time A plus time B. Distance AB, velocity AB. VB is 1 less than the velocity of A. That was 4 miles, 3 miles. Okay, that's all good. 3x minus 3. Multiplied by 5, 15x minus 5. 4x times 5 is 20x. Then 8x squared minus 8x. Well, S 3 over x plus 4 over x minus 1. Do that, and I can graph y equals 8/5. Okay, so my guess and check is correct. Somehow this algebra went bad on me. Ah, 15x plus 20x is 35x. So that's one mistake. Whoa. Minus 5. And still not sure that this is going to help me. Now it looks like it's minus 43x. Alrighty, let's see what great and powerful Wolfram Alpha does with five and 3/8. Huh. 5 and it's 3/8. X squared fifths minus 43x over 5 plus 3. Wow. Lesson learned. Do things slowly. Very slowly. Let's see if that solves my problem here. There we go. Now we have the right system. Okay, so plus 15 equals 0. That's marvelous. That's amazing that 5 comes out of this. But okay. So anyway, I can do my little trick of x, 8x minus 43. And so it's going to be between 0 and 43 over 8 or 43 over 16. It's going to rapidly get ugly. What is that? Just call it a day. I mean, do you see what happened here? Guess and check. I didn't actually know the answer beforehand. and I was just like stumbled on it, right? Pretty easy. And then this whole quadratic thing, even, I mean, I could try the quadratic formula too. So I get 43 plus or minus the square root of 43 squared minus 4 times 8 times 15, all divided by 16. That's 2a. So that also gives me something, right? It's like, what is that? What is all this stuff, man? So I'm just going to have to go to a device anyway. And if I'm going to go to a device anyway, I already got the answer without a device. But now I got it. Doing this. This is a perfect example of why you shouldn't let formulas in algebra dominate your life. Stay away. Don't do algebra. But actually, I mean, do notice that I was doing some algebra for the guess and check, right? I mean, it's a little bit, but like, I gave everything names and I started playing around with this stuff. And so then nice things happened. In any event, apparently this thing has another solution at 3/8. So this doesn't make any sense, right? It's very small. What actually goes wrong, though? So we know that this isn't going to come out right. And the reason for that is because 3/8 minus 1, which would be the velocity of b, is a negative number. Right? Now, the guess and check, I didn't really even have to think about it. It immediately, like, I would never even try 3/8 because I'd be like, oh, minus 1, done, right? So, like, just the fact that it's, oh, one less than the other thing means I'm already trying solutions that are greater than, 1. I'll probably try 2 at the very least, at a minimum at 2. But I know that at 2 in miles per hour, the B part would be 1 miles per hour, and going 4 miles is 4 hours, which is not what the time was. So, I know I'm getting larger. Like, it's already built in to the problem. But the guess and check method is your understanding. It's always good. Yeah, these other methods, they can rapidly get out of hand, even when there's a nice solution at the end, right? I mean, this is a nice solution. So there might be some kind of factoring thing that people could try. But I think that'd be a mess too. Really, just